amazing John Danbury. Now, he's going to be sharing his stories about his ups and downs in his career, sharing inspirational stories and telling people how he's actually overcome the challenges that he's had in his life and his business. Hello, John.
Very good morning, Narelle. How are we?
I'm absolutely fantastic. How are you, John?
Yeah, I'm good. A little bleary-eyed this morning because I didn't get in till 3 in the morning. I wasn't out partying. I was out working in South London, so it took a while to get home up the M1. But I am here. So if anyone sees me doze off, please send a message on the Facebook Live to someone to poke me to wake me up again. That'd be marvelous. Thank you.
Oh, bless you. And as always, in the studio, my producer and owner of Smile Radio, Richard Harrison. How are you?
Oh, great to be alive. We're doing the Facebook Live. I'm just trying to get the other camera set up. So you keep talking, Narelle.
Yes, I will.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How are you, buddy? All right. Nice for you to join us.
Yeah, all good, Richard. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yes. So as people are watching on Facebook, yeah, we're just having a few technical problems in the studio. So you can hear me, but you can't see me. But The thing is, yes, we can see the beautiful John. So just to kick off the programme, we're going to be playing a song. Now, I asked John to choose 4 songs. And I want you to introduce your first song and why you chose it, John.
Oh, right. Okay. Is this me, Narelle?
Yes, it is. Yes.
So I have been very, very blessed to have been in different areas of show business for 30 years this year. But as a professional, but I've always done things, even as a child, obviously amateur dramatics and things like that. And I think my first foray into singing with a band was when I was 14 with with a group of guys at school. It sounds posher than it is. We sang like three songs. I sang really badly, and they played fabulously. I've always been. Never really understood young people's music, so I've always listened to Buddy Holly, Elvis Presley, Eddie Cochran, the rock and roll greats as a child. So I love singing that type of stuff. I know about 10 years ago I recorded a few songs mainly for my mum to listen to. This is a song that I would normally open my family cabaret show at the holiday parks for Haven or Butlins. So it's Chuck Berry's Johnny Be Good, but with me singing, not Chuck. Sorry.
Right, we'll be right back after this, and you'll be able to see the beautiful, delightful Narelle.
Yay!
Yeah.
Close to New Orleans, went back up in the woods amongst the evergreens. A student old cabin made of earth and wood. We lived a country boy named Johnny Be Good, who never ever learned to read or write too well, but he could play the guitar just like a ringing a bell. Go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, go, Johnny Be Good. He used to carry his guitar and a gun in his sack, go sit beneath a tree by the railroad track. Old engineer was sitting in the shade, strumming with the rhythm that the drivers made. The people passing by, they would stop and say, oh, my little country boy, he can play. Go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, go, Johnny Be Good.
Again, Richard.
Down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, went back up in the woods amongst the evergreens. A student old cabin made of earth and wood. We lived a country boy named Johnny Be Good, who never ever learned to read or write too well. but he could play the guitar just like a ringing a bell. Go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, go, Johnny be good. He used to carry his guitar and a gun in his sack, go sit beneath a tree by the railroad track. Old engineer was sitting in the shade, strumming with the rhythm that the drivers made. The people passing by, they would stop and say, oh, mother, little country boy, you can play. Go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, go, Johnny be good. A man, and you will be the leader of a big old band. Many people coming from miles around to hear you play that music till the sun goes down. Maybe someday your name will be in lights, singing Johnny be good tonight. Go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, go, Johnny be good.
Narelle summers, be kind to your mind. On Smart Radio.
Wow. I loved that, John.
You vanished again, Narelle, off of my screen.
I know. But it will still be on the app and it'll still be on the internet and people can still listen on Facebook and on YouTube. So the things that I wanted to talk to you today, because, you know, you've had a variety of jobs within your career. You've obviously had a lot of ups and downs. And I just want, because you're a great storyteller, John. I was saying to Richard and a couple of people that I've mentioned the programme to this week, I could listen to you all day. The stories that you tell. And the thing is that, the inspiration that people will be able to get from that. So, you started off in musical theatre, and then you've just progressed as a presenter. You've done a lot of television, and now that you've got your own company, TV production company and film company. But the thing is that, when people look at that, they, if I looked that on your CV, I'd go, wow, that's amazing. But I know that you've had challenges in your life and you've got over them. So can you share some of your stories of the challenges that you've overcome?
Yeah, we have only got an hour, Narelle.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, being in show business is just a challenge. It changes all the time, and I think you have to be morphic and adaptive, don't you? You have to, and I think my main issue over my entire career is that I'm I don't know how to put it, too blooming ambitious, I think. So I think I should I move on to something thinking, oh, this is the next thing that will take me to the next level. And I think that I now produce TV and film, as you say, and I don't think I would be able to do that without having the challenges and the knockbacks and the and being able to adapt and change my life through the 30 years I've been in show business. Because to be a producer, you have to have huge tenacity. So if I go back right to the beginnings, when I was about 7, I decided that I wanted to be in some form of show business. Mm-hmm. Probably back then would have been an actor or something. Obviously, when you're 7, That's not going to happen. We, mum and dad were very, very supportive, but we lived in St Neots in Cambridgeshire, and there was no drama school there. There wasn't the, like there is now, this fabulous network of young people's classes that they go to. My two children go to a brilliant club called Rebel up in Shepley in Huddersfield. There wasn't that type of thing when we were kids, and if there was, it wasn't something that we knew about. So it was only through school plays and things like that. So it was only through school plays and things like that. I'm getting my own voice back on me.
Yeah, there's a lot of feedback, Richard.
If I mute mine, we
Paul Richard is running around the studio trying to get this fixed.
Oh, hang on. I think he might have done it. Well done, Richard. So as I grew through school and I did the school plays, and then I joined the local amateur dramatic society and did a few things there, I realised that really I wanted to be an actor. And I think it was about when I was about 12 or 13, we looked at me going off to one of the London schools for younger people, so Italia Conti or those type of places. But financially, it was unviable for my parents. Who come from a brilliant, hard-working family, but financially unviable to send a child to London to live and go to drama school on the huge fees that they were back then, 30 odd years ago, 40 years ago. So then when I was 17 or 16, I got a place on the BTEC course for performing arts at Cambridge, but I also went and auditioned for Mount View Theatre School in London, which was one of the big theatre schools, and still it's one of the top theatre schools in the country, if not the world. And I was very, very lucky at 16 to land a place. And then I was also very lucky to be one of the last people who were given a discretionary grant to go to drama school from Cambridgeshire County Council. Grant didn't come through when I was 16. Most people don't go until they've done their A-levels or their BTEC course, but I was wanting to go off as soon as I possibly could. So my grant didn't come through to join in the October when I was still 16. It came through, so I joined in the January intake. So I was literally 4 weeks after my 17th birthday, I moved to London on my own, and started my life in show business by going to drama school. And I will be brutally honest, I wasn't ready at all. I loved every minute of it. Probably that's why it didn't last as long as it should have done, because after
why do you feel that you weren't ready? Do you feel like you were too young?
Yeah, I don't think I had enough life experience. Because if you'd have done A-levels or if you'd have gone to university first, you've had some of that experience away from your family life. I mean, I've always been very mature. My parents were publicans, so I was around lots of people all the time. So it meant I was used to being sort of in front of groups of people. So I've always been confident and I've always been mature for my age. But I was a 17-year-old boy going to a drama school, coming from an environment where I was brought up in, as I say, in pubs and clubs and things. So I was used to that social. So I think I enjoyed myself probably a little bit more than I should, being one of the in the few men. There wasn't, as there still is, there's less men who go off to drama school. So I enjoyed myself, had fun, and probably went to the pub too often, and didn't.
But that's what students do, don't they?
Yeah. So I don't think I treated it with the respect it deserved. So therefore, I didn't necessarily learn. So at the end of my first year, they said to me, "John, you haven't progressed well enough. We're going to have to ask you to leave." Now it's a 3-year course, and it's like, well, this was my life. This is what I wanted to do. So I appealed, and they took me back in to the second year. Now, back then, it was, you went to drama school. Equity was a closed shop, which is now illegal, but it was a closed shop. You couldn't work without an equity card, and you couldn't get an equity card unless you had professional work. If you went to one of the big drama schools, they graduated 40 people on the equity graduation scheme. But they would take on 75 people, knowing that some of them wouldn't make the cut at the end. So they would cull some through the time. So I was one of those people that unluckily didn't make the cut. But they took me on for the second year and gave me another crack, which I knuckled down, and I really worked hard, and I did progress quite dramatically in that second year. But I only lasted a term, because they said, look, you've not progressed enough, you're not up to the same standard as some of the rest of the students. So they asked me to leave, which is tough. You know, I was still only 17. Yeah, it was the Christmas, so I'd only been there for the year, so 4 academic terms. So it was really soul.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, back then, though, you feel that that's your life, and it's just been, destroyed. And as you said, you don't have the life experience. It's like me saying, I wish I'd gone into emotional well-being years ago, but you know what? I didn't really have the life experience, but now I do.
Definitely, and that's how I felt about it then, about college then. Although 30 years later, there are very, very few people who did graduate eventually who are still in the business. So, and I think that's down to my attitude to life, is that the people who asked me to leave drama school, who decided I wasn't ready, were a handful of people, 3 people, possibly, maybe 4, of the head tutors. So my view at the point, once I spent a few weeks feeling extremely sorry for myself, was that that's just a couple of people's opinion of me. That's not the world's opinion of me, and that's definitely not my opinion of me. So instead of running home back to St Neots in Cambridgeshire, I just went, well, stuff it. I'm staying in London. I'm getting a job. And every week, religiously, I bought a copy of the Stage and Television Today newspaper, circled all the adverts, applied for all the jobs. Back in those days, there was this red printed sheet thing called PCR, I think a professional casting report, that you used to pay. I can't remember, it was quite expensive. You used to pay monthly for this thing to come through with a list of jobs on. So you'd just send off a hard copy of a photograph and a CV and a begging letter, basically, to these casting directors to try and get seen for an audition if you didn't have an agent. I did land a couple of agents early on, because I was young and hungry, and I got a couple of jobs. I went.
So can I just stop you there, because you you made a decision. You could have easily given up and gone back to your parents. So
Yeah.
what was your mindset at that time to make that decision to stay in London?
I can't swear on the radio, Narelle, but it was
Yeah, no,
basically-
don't.
It was basically stuff them. It's like, this is my life and this is what I want to do. And I took ownership of the fact that it was probably. I say I took ownership of the fact that it was probably my fault. I didn't for a long time really blamed them, and I blamed probably one particular tutor at the time who, for some reason, I didn't get along with and didn't seem to particularly like me, and my end of year performance, but bearing in mind I'm 17, my end of year performance was judged on 2 lines playing a 45-year-old vicar. So I felt a little bit gutted about that at the time. But when I look back, obviously, you're not only assessed on an end of year performance, you're assessed on your attitude in class and all of those things. So I did take ownership of it, although for a long time I did blame them. But sort of thought, well, it's also your fault. So I just thought, well, if you're going to do something with your life, if this is what you really want to do, you've got to get used to this knockbacks, because show business is one constant knockback. You get kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked, and the people who survive in it are the people who build that tough skin, even if they don't really have that tough skin. They sit at home and cry into their coffee at night.
But you say, because it's not, I mean, acting in particular is a lot of knockbacks, but in any career, there's a lot of people can get rejected. How, and you say that you've got to, have a thick skin, but how do you deal with knockbacks? Because even now in the career that you're doing, I'm sure you will get knockbacks. How do you deal with them knockbacks, and how do you get that skin to protect you?
I think I think the core of any being good as a human is trying to accept you for you. You know who you are, and that's how I deal with it. Really, I know. I can't remember where I read it once, but you and I've had discussions previously. I'm a huge lover of the well-being and self-help industry, and I read an awful lot. And I read once that 25% of people just won't like you for no apparent reason, and it's not your fault. They'll just won't like the shape of your face, the color of your shoe, or whatever. They just won't like you. So as soon as you get over the fact that there's some people in the world, when you walk into a room, they're just not going to like you, as long as you like you, and that's important. I think for me, I wasn't for years, like most people aren't, but as I've got older, I've become very comfortable with me. This is who I am. Constantly I'm being told that I've got one too many buttons undone. But that's me. I love to dress like a 70s porn star. It's what I look like.
But the thing that, and you're right, 25% of people will just, and the thing is that, people can walk into a room and you instantly think, I don't like them, and it's all about connection, isn't it? And it's all about surrounding yourself with the right kind of people who are going to support and say positive things and encourage you. That's who you want to be around. The people who are going to say negative things and you don't connect with them, remove them. I haven't got a problem with that. I like to surround myself with people who are my people, and that's okay.
What do they say? They say you rise to the level of the 5 closest people that are around you, or something like that, isn't it? So
yeah, and also if you're in a room and you know the most things, you're in the wrong room. You need to be in a different room because you need to be learning from other people. But yeah, you're right. You are like the people who you actually spend time with, the 5 closest people that you spend time with, because you do mirror those behaviours. You'll copy those behaviours. So, choose those people carefully.
Yeah. Although I do quite like being in the room and knowing that I'm the smartest. Do you know what I mean? Happens very rarely, Narelle. Very rarely. And
oh, you are a fountain of knowledge, John. A fountain of knowledge.
Yeah, none of it useful though, Narelle. What's the problem?
Bless you. Right, okay. So I asked you to choose 4 songs. We've already played a song that you sung.
Twice, which was
yeah, twice.
Yeah, twice. Yeah, we had it.
Twice too many, Richard.
So what is your next song, and why are you going to play it?
All right. Well, when you said you'd love me on, you said that you like to play unsigned bands, and my friend Miles Salter from York is one of the loveliest human beings you will ever meet. He's just a glorious, enthusiastic human, a brilliant musician, and he has a great band called Miles and the Chain Gang. They have 4 original tracks that you can listen to on the streamers. So I thought it'd be lovely if we played one of Miles and the Chain Gang's songs. Yeah, quite reminiscent the sort of House Martin Smith's style, I think, and that's what I really love. That style, great musicians, great vocals, interesting lyrics. Listen carefully to the lyrics because Miles always says something important, I think, in all of his songs. So I thought it'd be nice to introduce some of our listeners today to Miles and the Chain Gang.
Brilliant.
Right, so coming up straight after this, if you want to get in touch with us on Facebook, it's Smile Radio Yorkshire, Instagram and Twitter at Smile Radio 3. So we're right back after this.
Love is blind when it comes to that. Or maybe it's like Billy Bragg said, that proposition is short-sighted. My vision blurs when you slide in the room. I need to get my eyes checked soon. I'm seeing double, but still feel delighted. You might say I'm easily led. I got your legs wrapped around my head. No wonder my eyesight is blighted. 'Cause I can't see straight, but I just can't wait for you to come into view. The rooftops and the sunsets, they're all very well, but I'd rather be looking at you. Love was amazing, I stumbled through it. I tried to be good, but I knew when I blew it. Sunshine isn't guaranteed every day. We give what we can, but we need something back. We feel insecure, so we go on the attack. There's a sharp needle buried in the hay. You might say I'm easily led. Got your legs wrapped round my head. No wonder my compass points the wrong way. 'Cause I can't see straight, but I just can't wait for you to come into view. The rooftops and the sunsets, they're all very well, but I'd rather be looking at you. 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 Tell me, money. Tell me, Picasso. Tell me, Rembrandt. Just need you. Just need you. Just need rather be looking at you.
Narelle summers, be kind to your mind. On Smile Radio.
So welcome back, and we're still talking to my guest, John Danbury. So
Sorry
you so you talked about how you got started, and I know that you've had various acting and presenting jobs. Do you want to go through some of those and the challenges that you've had?
Yeah. So as I said earlier, being in show business, you have to change and adapt. And after my first few jobs as an actor, I was unemployed, as most actors are at some point in their life. And I took a job which I found in the Stage and Television Today newspaper, for a company called Marvin's Magic, which are a company that are the largest manufacturer of magic product for entry level for kids, for things. So a brilliant company, and I worked for them in Harrods, Hamleys, Selfridges, and places like that, demonstrating a toy initially. And then one day they said, "Oh, you're an actor. Learn some magic. Cover the magician's lunch break." So I did. And then one Sunday morning, I'm asleep and I get a phone call, and it's the guy who is my boss, and he said, "Oh, my friend Paul is supposed to be doing this job, this magic job in Guildford, and he's got the flu. Can you go and do it?" And I said, "No, I can't do magic in front of real people. I learnt 3 tricks you showed me to show the kids while I was on a lunch break." And he said, "It's 50 quid cash in hand." I said, I'll be there in half an hour. I've been very, very lucky, touch wood. I've worked every weekend since. I still average probably 3 gigs a week. So some weeks I don't do anything, and then other weeks I'm gigging a lot. So it's been magic has been very, very kind to me, and I think it's one of those things that the challenge that you find in life is being scared of taking opportunity. And if I'd have been scared, and then I wouldn't have done it. So, and it was a case of, I always say, try to sort of install it into my kids. If you're listening, children, say yes to the world, and then try to work it out afterwards. Otherwise you might miss something amazing. So just by going, "Oh, all right, I'll get to Guildford," and panicking what I was going to do, uh, I've made a career out of being a variety performer. Now, one thing that is good about that is that I've had relatively consistent work until the pandemic, obviously. But one thing that's bad about that is it stopped me being hungry as an actor. So, because when you are an actor, you get this adrenaline rush from performing and then when you stop performing, you get the post-show blues. So you're very down and depressed. Whereas as a variety performer, I was gigging regularly, and it was an immersive time at that point in London. So all of the restaurants were having close-up magicians. I ended up being resident magician at the Hilton on Park Lane. I did lots for Pizza Express and TGI Fridays and places like that. I ended up being resident magician on the Orient Express Northern Bell train for a while. So it was a very immersive time. You're working really hard, but it took away that need to perform as an actor. So therefore, it became more of a lifestyle choice. I was earning a decent amount of money. I ended up running the sales departments for Harrods, Hamleys, and Selfridges in the Magic. So I became the UK sales manager for Marvin's Magic, because found I also had the skill of chatting to people, and could sell stuff. We like to do business with people we like, and so.
Absolutely. And I have to say, I've seen you a couple of times doing your magic shows, and you are absolutely fantastic. I was saying to Richard, you are a showman. You are. You've got it all. And yeah, I've said this before, but I could listen to you all day, John. The stories that you tell, and the inspiration that you give. I just love it.
Yeah, thank you. And one story that I did say to you we should share on, which is sort of the one when I do my big shows. I do a 2-hour theatre show, because obviously training musical theatre, and I did tour with some musical shows and stuff. So I sing, as you well, sort of sing, as you sort of heard, and we're going to play another musical theatre one in a bit. But so in my show I do a little bit of everything. So I tell the stories and things. So when I was at Marvin's Magic, in 1995, so obviously a very long time ago now, Narelle, my boss, Marvin Burglass, son of David Burglass, international man of mystery, one of the most famous magicians of all time, Marvin phoned me from the States and said, Michael Jackson is coming to store. And can you help organise some stuff for him? So I helped organise some stuff. They closed the store down specifically for him. Now this was before social media. The die-hard Michael Jackson fans would sort of follow him from his hotel, and they'd have a network of phoning each other to find out where he was going to be. So he was dropped off, I think it's Argyle Street, the street on the back of the store where the security entrance is. So he was dropped off in his Popemobile at the back of the store and brought in, and very, very interesting and childlike person. He was wearing the mask before they were in vogue. He started the trend, and came up and was asking, can I see something? Can I see something with magnets? Because that was the year that there was loads of these brilliant little tricks with floating things, and they were all done with magnets at the time. And then all of a sudden, obviously it's 1995, there is a bomb scare on Argyle Street at the back because the IRA were consistently bombing London at that point, and I was caught up many times in bomb scares while I was working in the department stores in London. And frequently they'd evacuate the store of the customers, but not the staff, which was always, they just go, just move back, just in case if one goes off outside, you'll be all right at the back. And we're thinking, well, you've evacuated everyone else, why are you not evacuating?
Gosh.
We dispense them all? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is bomb scare at the back. So we couldn't get him out of the store, and they papered the front windows to stop the crowds on the street peering through and seeing him in the store. So we had to get Michael Jackson out of the store. Now, if you've been to central London, Regent Street is quite a wide pavement, which means that there wasn't enough security to hold back the crowds to get Michael into his car. So I was seconded onto Michael Jackson's security detail. So I was Michael Jackson's bodyguard for 7 minutes. Now you can't tell on Zoom, but I am 6'4" and currently about 17 stone. So I'm not a small human. So I was one of the people holding back the crowd. So linked guard, linked security guards while Michael's going through. And this vividly I remember it the rest of my life. This little lady in front of me is crying, literally sobbing and screaming at me, I just want to touch him, I don't want to hurt him.
Oh my.
You know, it's the most freaky experience of my life. Yeah, so as I say, I've done some strange things over my life, Narelle, but Michael Jackson's bodyguard
was up there.
From the magic point of view, I've been very lucky. I was invited by another magician, asked me to go and perform at the Diana Memorial Concert at Wembley for Prince William and Prince Harry. So I performed for them there. I performed a private charity event at Highgrove House for the King, who obviously then was Prince Charles and Camilla. So I performed at Highgrove there, so that was quite nice. So I've been very lucky in my...
Yeah, you've had some fantastic opportunities, John. And I think also being an actor and a magician and a presenter, there are lows, and you have spoke about them. But the thing is, there's so many highs. And I think when people are low, and this is not just the acting career for anybody, you know, to visualize, if you're low, if you're going down, the only way is up, and things will get better, and there are opportunities. And I like the fact that, you know, you instill that into your children. Always say yes, and then think about it later. You know, or like feel the fear and do it anyway, you know. And sometimes the fear can be misinterpreted. You know, it could be excitement. Excitement and fear are the same feeling. It's the thought that is different, and it's about changing your thought and just doing it. And I want to go back to something that you said really early on in the interview today. You said, maybe I'm just too ambitious. And I think that is it's wrong, because I think if you aim for the moon and if you miss, you land in the stars anyway.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Although the moon's closer than the stars, so I never understood that analogy. 'Cause but yeah, it's true. It's true. And I've always said to my children that what's the most important skill in life? Because people do get confused. Academia is brilliant, and we need people who are academic, but not everybody should be following an academic path. So I'm constantly saying to my children, what is the most important skill? And if they are listening while they're getting ready for drama club, they're probably going, oh, here he goes. Because the most important skill is the art of compelling communication. So if you can persuade people in an ethical way, obviously there's been people who've persuaded country loads of people in an unethical way over the years, but if you can persuade people onto your thinking, you can do anything, really. And we talked a bit about you would say about the highs, but the lows, Narelle, this is why I talk about having a thick skin. The lows can be just, there's days when I'm sure all of us out there, people listening, there's days when you just think, I just don't want to get up today. I can't face it. And you have to just go, well, come on, you've got responsibilities. You're a human being. There's things you have to do. For me, it's I've got to get up and sort the kids out, get them off to school and things. I've got to come to work. I've got people relying on me at work and things like that. But there are days, there's a brilliant book by Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins has written a couple of brilliant books actually, but the 5-second rule is one of my favourite books, because she basically says that to let your brain take over, the monkey, some people call it, don't they?
The inner chatter.
The inner chatter, then that can debilitate you, can't it?
Oh,
if you listen to that voice, because naturally as human beings we will find the negative in everything, because it comes right from the core elements of being a human. We'll see something and we'll work out the dangers naturally. That's just what the brain does. So we have to put the positive in. We have to feed the brain with the positives. We have to remove those weeds and build the garden. And if you do the 5-second rule, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. Then you don't get a chance. That voice doesn't get a chance. So in the morning, if you wake up thinking, oh, I feel a bit rubbish today, I don't really want to get up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up. Just do it. Just get up. Get at it. Once your feet hit the floor, thank you, I'm up. That's it.
Absolutely. That's great. Great advice. And that inner chatter, as you said, it's been, our mind has been programmed millions and millions of years ago, and it's programmed in that negative way. And that's its default. But you have a choice to put those positive thoughts in that mind of yours. Now, I want you to introduce the third song that you chose, John, and why.
Okay, well, when we discussed it, Narelle, I jokingly said, how about playing something that I've recorded? And you went, yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely. I love that.
So this is my official apology to our listeners, which you can find on Facebook and on online Smile Radio. My official apology that you are now going to listen to me. Now, I did say I started life training in musical theatre. I got kicked out of drama school listening to this song. You might know why. This is from the Miss Saigon, and I do believe I missed the top notes subtly. So sorry for those musicians out there. Why God Why from Miss Saigon. Hopefully.
Why does Saigon never sleep at night? Why does this girl smell of orange trees? How do I feel good when nothing's right? Why is she cool when there is no breeze? Vietnam, you don't give answers, do you, friend? Just questions that don't ever end. Why there's nothing left here that I'll miss, why send me now a night like this? Who is this girl in a rusty bed? Why am I back in her filthy room? Why is her voice ringing in my head? Why am I high on her cheap perfume, Vietnam? Hey look, I mean you no offense, but why does nothing here make sense? Why, God, show your hand? Why can't one guy understand? I've been with girls who knew much more. I never felt confused before. Why, God, what's your plan? I can't help her, no one can. I liked my memories as they were, but now I leave remembering her. When I went home before, no one talked to the war. What they knew from TV didn't have a thing to do with me. I went back and re-upped, sure, Saigon is corrupt. It felt better to be here driving for the embassy. Cause here if you can pull a string, a guy like me lives like a king. Just as long as you don't believe anything. Why, God, why this face? Why such beauty in this place? I liked my memories as they were, but now I leave remembering her, just her.
Yeah, that's the end, Richard. Turn it off quick. Turn it off quick.
Narelle summers, be kind to your mind. On Smile Radio.
We only have 10 minutes left, John.
No, and we've got 25 years. Of my I said an hour's not long enough because I talk too much, Narelle.
We'll have to get you back on, John. We'll have to get you back on. Just before you go, do you know a lady called Kay Dyson?
Yeah, I know Kay very well. Miss Magic.
Miss
Yeah,
Magic, yeah. I think we've met before, John. Cause,
I definitely recognise your face, Richard.
yeah, because Kay's. I used to work on cruise ships with Kay, and she's a really, really good friend of mine. We're doing a Christmas do at Smile Bar and Venue, and Kay is doing the magic for us.
Fabulous. Well, I am president of Huddersfield Circle of Magicians, Richard.
Right. Well, you need to come and see us, don't you? Anyway, I'm not hijacking your interview. I apologise.
No,
I know
it's okay.
we have definitely met, John. We have definitely met. Anyway, I'll over
We
to
can
you
talk. We can talk after the programme.
as you were.
As you were. So we've only got literally about 9 minutes now. No.
A
So
song to as well. So
yes,
you've
a
got
song. So yes. So you know, I just want you to take this opportunity to talk about what you're working on now, where people can find you on social media, your website, your email address. Go for it, John.
Okay, yeah. So now, I've moved into TV and film production, which we've been running Visualize Films. We talked earlier about visualizing the future, and that's where the name Visualize Films came from, really, because obviously you've got to create that vision in your mind. A house doesn't get built until an architect decides what it's going to look like and then puts it down on paper. So you've got to prepare it in your mind first. So I run Visualize Films. I'm very lucky. We have produced some fabulously award-winning movies, both shorts and features. We started life um, making a factual entertainment program called Are We There Yet, which was a 10 parts travel series set in Ireland, which is being shown on American television at the moment. You can't see it here. And then we had a chat with John Godber, the famous playwright, the third most performed British playwright of all time, who asked us to produce his feature film, which we did on no money, and then we made some short films. During lockdown, we made a award-winning film called Touching the Blue, which was a friend of mine, Joe Wemborne, who's a brilliant screenwriter, had written this play for the Edinburgh Fringe and performed it there, and then decided he was going to take it on tour. Pandemic hit, so couldn't. So phoned me up and said, "John, do you fancy making this into a film?" So we did, and that won loads of awards internationally. And yeah, you can see that one on YouTube, I think, under the Visualize Films. If you search Visualize Films on YouTube, you can see Touching the Blue. It's about 48 minutes long. It's great. Brilliant actor, Jeff Stevenson, in that. And then off the back of that, one of my best friends from drama school, Lawrence, he phoned me up. He's a composer. And he phoned me up and said, "Oh, I saw you made this thing. My musical was supposed to go into the West End, but because of the pandemic, we can't. Fancy making a film out of it?" So I then went on and I just said yes. Like I've said before, just say yes and then work out how you're going to do it. I'd never produced a musical before on that scale. They had some of the money, not all of the money. So we had to ask the investors nicely if they would increase their investment stake. And then we made a film called Tomorrow Morning, based on the original stage musical of the same name. And we cast Samantha Barks and Ramin Karimloo as the leads, and they are two of the biggest musical theatre stars in the world. And then also we had George Maguire, an Olivier Award-winning actor, and Fleur East, the TV star, in her first feature film. And then Dame Joan Collins, Anita Dobson, Omid Djalili, Henry Goodman, Harriet Thorpe, some brilliant actors, and obviously my wife, who's a fabulous actress, and Micklethwaite, Mrs. Danbury, she had a little cameo in it too.
And it was absolutely fantastic, John. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I bought it on DVD and I watched it. I thought it was brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's available in HMV. You can actually walk into HMV and buy it, which is exciting for me to go into HMV in Sheffield at Meadow Hall and go, "Look, that's my film, look!" And it's been in the cinema in the UK, and it's about to open in Japan. So you can find out about all the things that Visualize Films do by going to visualizefilms.com. We are constantly looking for investors, because that's the lifeblood of independent film. Is you need a little bit of money to make a project, and hopefully, because the way we work, we like to work with a core smaller crew than the huge production houses. So what most companies would need 80 to 120 crew to make, we can make with 15 to 40. So we can make it a lot more cost effective, which means that the investors get a better return on their investment. We've got a couple of amazing projects that we're raising money for next year. One's an ongoing TV detective series based in the city of York. So that's brilliant. So go on the website, find my email, which is mail@visualizefilms.com, if you want to know a bit more about that. We've got a couple of period dramas we're working on, which we've cast or we're looking to cast some brilliant people for. And so let me know if you're interested in that. Any of the magic performance, I host things as well. I compare and I host charity events. I recently hosted the Huddersfield Christmas Lights Switch On last weekend. So 3,000 people in St George's Square was quite fun. So I do all that. So if you want to know
and where are you on social media? You've given your email address out.
just search for me for John Danbury on any of the social medias. I don't really do TikTok. A bit old for TikTok.
It's the future, apparently, as my 15-year-old daughter tells me.
Yeah, so I can't do so I've got a TikTok account and never put anything on it. Yeah, so your Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, just to find me, John Danbury, and my website for the magic, all things magical and hosting is johndanbury.com.
That's brilliant, John. And I just love listening to your stories, and you've given the listeners some really good advice today. And say yes to everything. And it's okay not to connect with people. Just surround yourself with the people that you do connect with, and keep them close to you. People who are going to support and be positive towards you. I just love it. And we've got 4 minutes left. So, so if anybody, I'm actually an emotional wellbeing coach and speaker. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. Go and search my information. Love to be, I obviously do this every month, although I'm going to give Richard a break in December because he's obviously going to be very busy with his bar. But every month it's myself and I have guests on. You can go and have a look on YouTube. It'd be great to connect. If anybody's got any questions for myself or John after the listening to this program, just send us a message and we'll answer it straight away. So I'm going to just pass it over to you, John, and you're going to introduce the last song and why you chose it.
Yeah, okay. So before I introduce the song, I just want to say thank you to you, Narelle, for having me on. Thank you for Richard for being the fabulous technical advisor. And
don't know about that.
As importantly, thank you to the people who support me, the people who surround me. So my colleague Dave is always Dave Thorpe, brilliant support. But most importantly, my family, my kids, and of course my wife, who I couldn't do what I do without her patience. This is a song from the current movie soundtrack, which you can find on all streaming sites. So search for Tomorrow Morning Original Movie Soundtrack. This is I can't remember which one did we choose.
I remember.
Okay, so I Remember has
ironically
leading singers on. So Samantha Barks, Ramin Karimloo, George Maguire, and Fleur East. So this is I Remember from the original motion picture soundtrack of Tomorrow Morning.
I just want to say a massive thank you to you, John. Narelle, as always, a pleasure. And if you've missed this show or any other show, you can go to our website, smileradio.co/on-demand. You can listen for free or download it for £1. Every little helps. Anyway, thanks again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and stay safe, look after each other, and see you again soon.
So clear. I remember the future felt so near. She smiled at me like no one had smiled before, and we were always wanting more. Every detail of those days, I can't believe how real it stays. He took my hand. I remember there was a kiss I hadn't planned, and how he smiled at me like no one had smiled before. I remember what he wore, the way he smelled, the words he said, how he only looked ahead. I remember.
Let me tell you what I remember about what happened here only last September. At first I thought he's maybe seeing someone new, till we started to suspect what he was working to. And those 4 little words just arrived, and she almost melted inside.